So I think we're all preaching to the choir here, right? I think we all know what we're doing with the rice bowl. Are there any questions? Paul's got all the answers. He's here as the answer man.
The only question I had is that they talked about 25% staying in the diocese. If you donate through the computer or using that scan thing, how do they know where it's coming from? I mean, or how do they know? Well, they probably ask you what parish you're from, right? When you're given the money, or what diocese.
Yeah. Paul, you're on mute, Paul, in case you want to respond to that question. But
yeah, it should be set up that it puts it in the parish so that it can be measured. Well, let's start because we're videotaping this with the idea that we're going to send this out to everyone who wasn't able to join us today. So what I wanted to make sure was that as a group, we could provide guidance to parishes throughout the diocese. Catherine showed us, if we go to CRSRicebowl.org, that's the site. If you go to the planning section, you can find all the resources you need to have bulletins. If you hold on, I'll give you a sample. Can you see that?
no, you didn't share screen there, Paul.
Bear with me, share screen.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Yeah.
Paul, that's on the website, right?
So that's correct. So you can print it off, hand that to whoever does the bulletins, and they could put one in a week. And there's no work on a deacon's part really to do any other work on that other than to pass it.
Yeah.
There is also one for screen sharing stopped. Hang on.
And do they come in other languages, Paul?
I did not see that there. So there may be a requirement to do some conversion.
I can't imagine it wouldn't be in Spanish.
Yeah, I can't either. I mean, all their posters and stuff. And like I say, there's a stuffer out there that allows you to put in the bulletin. And there's also a pulpit announcement. And the pulpit announcement is probably 3 minutes long, where you just introduce the rice bowl introduction, and you can read it in probably a couple minutes. So those resources are out there. I don't know how much activity each deacon does within their own parish. In my experience, the DRE kind of drives the process, and so the deacon only needs to be supportive in any of those things. So, any questions? Go ahead, Dave.
Not a question, but I did quickly go to the CRS Rice Bowl site, and right at the top, the whole site can be English or the whole site can be Spanish.
Okay.
If you pick Spanish, then everything that you drop down to look at is in Spanish.
Does it have multiple languages like Vietnamese and other?
It did have Haitian Creole. No, I'm just joking. But no, I only saw up top Spanish and English. So, but that's all I saw.
Okay.
So any question of where to find resources?
No.
Okay.
So So if this is being recorded and going to other places, Bill, maybe you give an example, of your sandwich ministry as a local project that's gets some funding from Ricebowl.
Yeah, we've actually benefited for years from that. I'm not sure, probably a dozen years now in terms of getting back a little mini grant, and also for our Take and Eat program as well. And it's a pretty simple process. The grant process is a paragraph and a signature by your pastor, and usually comes the end of the summer or early September. So it's a nice way. I think the maximum grant is $1,000, and that part of it has been good. And actually, as we promoted in Holy Cross, I mentioned that as the Ricebowl actually benefits, and in a direct way, the sandwich ministry, and we don't have to do a second collection for that. And so that I think people identify with that. And I think we have St. Michael's Academy on our property too, and we try to do some linkages there with them to get the students involved, and we've had some degree of success with that. In our parish, I've kind of driven it because we see a direct connection with benefiting the sandwich ministry, and I think another thing we talked about before this recording started was several years ago, Ricebowl had a big box that you could actually deposit your rice bowls in, which we do on Holy Thursday, but it's there as a symbol, I think, throughout, in addition to the posters, but it's right in the sanctuary, and it's a symbol of what we're doing to promote almsgiving during the season of Lent. And it's really, I think, been a pretty effective symbol. And I know we heard from Catherine that those aren't available anymore, but I kind of thinking to myself, if you got a carpenter in the parish, you could build your own little box like that, and put Ricebowl on it. And I think those kind of symbols help to drive the fact that, this is an important part of almsgiving that we're engaging in during the Lenten season.
And Bill, could you speak just a little bit about, as you're handing these sandwiches out to those that are coming by to collect them, a little bit about how your heart changes when you're with people who are in dire need?
Yeah. We got a couple hours on that one, Paul? No, I would just say that honestly, I think for us, and I think one of the joys of doing this ministry, we're in our 16th year of doing it, and as we like to say, over 360,000 sandwiches now. And I think one of the more joyful things is getting young people involved for us, and having them not only come and make sandwiches with us, but to come downtown, and as Mother Teresa used to say, to meet Christ in distressing disguise, and that eye contact, that connection. And even with COVID, we've managed to do that safely. And I think it's continuously for me been such a joy, because I think our young people are looking for places in the church where they can see the call of the gospel and everything else being lived out. And so I think any opportunity you have, I know Joe does that as well in his parish, and it never ceases to be a joyful and meaningful experience for me.
Yeah. I can speak for what we do in the Catholic community of Greenfield. We have a food pantry that we collect at Blessed Sacrament from the two churches, and they hand out over a ton of groceries every week to people in need. They come by, we load bags up for them, and we empty that pantry every week. At Holy Trinity, we have a community meal twice a month. When we're able to get together, we open up our church hall. We set tables, we use real forks, real knives, real plates, real glasses, and we serve them a real meal, not hot dogs and beans, but somebody's making meatloaf or ham or something, they get real meals, and to sit with people at those meals to hear their story of life on the street and so on is all you need really to recruit people to come and see what their small donation does in the life of another individual who has nothing. How about you, Kevin? I know you go to Mexico and all over. You have experiences as well.
Thank God you give them real meals, Paul. Those fake meals don't go too far.
Yes.
Just one quick story, the international level. It was at this parish that some know down in southern Mexico, Chiapas, Mexico, one time, and there was a little parish meeting and a little wooden chapel there, and they asked me, do you have poor in the United States? And I said, yeah, of course we have poor in the United States. We have homeless people, particularly in the big cities and all that. So, I felt good about my answer. And then afterwards, I was leaving, traveling with the parish minister, and she said to me, Kevin, do poor children in the United States suffer from malnutrition? And I said, no, not usually. And then she said, do poor children in the United States die from diarrhea? And I said, no, not usually. So she was being kind, but she was making the point, yeah, the poverty here is very different than the poverty you have in your country, right? So that's just, one sample of, the reality of poverty in other countries. The Catholic Relief Services supports, is entirely different. And so, yeah, it really, CRS really makes an impact in people's lives. It changes it. And it's not just about giving food, but it's also about giving resources and training and other things so that people can be empowered, to be self-sustaining.
And that's the important part. Catholic Relief Service, I believe, is in 100 different countries, and they're dealing with whatever the crisis is. Might be helping people provide running water rather than go to a stream or something and fish it out that might be polluted. So they're doing more work, and without the help of Catholic Relief Services, some of these countries, that's all that's available to them. They don't have anything in the country to support that level of need. So it comes from outside.
Yeah.
We're lucky here in this country that we have Red Cross and a lot of other things that are organizations within communities. So there is a choice of places to find some help and some relief for just about every problem. So that's a difference that we don't see in the rest of the world.
I think one of the points that Kevin made too is I think so true, because I know every year in Just Faith that we talk about the fact that half of the world lives on less than $2 a day. And I think that that is a much
Right.
different picture than the poverty in the United States. And I think if we can point those things out to the folks in the pews, that this is the connection. And as Pope Francis tells us continuously, that, we're all connected. And, I think we're connected to the crisis on the border with, refugees and so many people that are fleeing situations we could never imagine. And I think that Lent's a perfect time, and the Ricebowl Project's a perfect time to remind people of that connection and that we're responsible for each other.
Right. The level of crisis is in the context of wherever it is. Even in this country, well, we think we have it bad, we are not experiencing the same level of crisis that a poor country would experience. So it's important for us to kind of have our hearts in that other place and not just here, because it's not the same.
Right.
So.
Any wisdom from the other men here? Because I know you guys got a lot of wisdom.
Little pressure.
Russia, I'll tell you a story. And we were in Honduras, and we had done some water projects down there. Actually, in connection with our Rotary Club in Chicopee, we built a medical clinic. And but one day I was walking with one of our priests who was down there, and it was first thing in the morning, and a woman and they don't live in houses, they live in huts, that are made out of adobe bricks. And it's pitiful. No windows, no bathrooms. I never saw a bathroom. I don't know where people go to the bathroom down there. But it just, and they have a little patio with a roof where they do their cooking and stuff. Well, she invited us in for breakfast. And the woman had nothing. I mean, she had a basket. She pulled 2 eggs out from underneath the chicken, and she had some vegetables, and it was late, and she made us omelets, and but nothing was clean. Nothing was. This is how they live. And I said, and you had to eat them, and you had to appreciate it. And she was giving us all she had. I just kept thinking of the woman in the gospel who gave her 2 pennies, and Jesus said, well, she gave everything she had. And they were just so happy to be able to help us. And that Sunday, we were at Mass, and the church was full, overflowing, people outside the windows. And the priest asked me to speak. And so I spoke in English and he translated. But I said, the only thing I can say is, we have people in our country who are not happy because they don't have enough stuff. We have more stuff and they need more. They need more. And I said, I see here, you people are all happy. And it just makes me feel so good that we're able to do a little bit to help you out, and it just, people were just so nice, so appreciative. And it's stuff you don't see here, even, we give out our sandwiches on Sunday, and you see a little bit of that, sometimes we have extra sandwiches, so instead of bringing them the Holy over somewhere, we'll give someone another bag, and then somebody else will show up. Well, we're out of sandwiches, but the people who got 2 will actually share their sandwiches with other people. And I always thought that's just wonderful to watch,